Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite, episode 320. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm your host on this journey in the world of nerd. I am Todd Oxtra, joined by Charlie Carden.
Flippity flop and floppity flip. Sunny Saturday here in Michigan. We're on the precipice of Easter, and Easter is the same day this year as my wife's birthday, April the 4th. So little double celebration. We're going to go out to a little local establishment called Meyer Gardens. They have their butterfly exhibit, and so it should be a nice little day. And 70 degrees, which is like pretty rare here at all in the month of April. So I'm kind of fired up about that. It's going to be a good weekend. Very,
very good. And then we are joined by a friend of ours. I don't know, maybe you get your green jacket this time, but Joseph Moran, Mr. Bad Bit from the PlayStation Trophy Room podcast and also Co-op Cast.
Ooh.
A little trademark violation, Joe. You didn't ask. Our bill will be in the mail for all your proceeds.
Shit, stone cold.
Okay, well, I was going to start with floppity flop and floopity flop. What's up on this beautiful April morning? I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Oh, boy.
That name for that podcast.
The big sigh. The big sigh.
It's literally had 9 names. And when we had one, I did not think of your podcast at the time. We had I think it was like what was it? I forget what the name was, but we literally had to swap the words around because someone much larger had literally made their podcast the same name the day before. So, you know, it's been a hard one. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. My lawyers will talk to your lawyers. And we'll settle it all.
Yeah, we'll make a deal, Joe. We'll make a deal.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
I'll give you royalties, you know.
Oh, perfect. I love that. You know, and we have Joe on because we talked about Joe is a big Kong Godzilla fan, so that's what we're going to really be the big topic of the show will be the Kong versus Godzilla spoiler cast at the very end of the show. But you know, we had to find a man who is torn between apes and lizards, and we'll see where he stands at the end.
Is that like the classic 70s AM Gold tune, Torn Between Two Lovers, or the misheard lyric version of it, Torn Between Two Cupboards? No judgment. No. You know what? Life is full of splendor, so life is too short to judge.
Maybe illegal in some states. Who knows? We'll have to look into that.
I think it's entirely possible.
Yes. So episode 320, we looked for a cover that matches the episode number, and that is Detective Comics 320. And I love this cover because it makes no sense. This is Wacky Batman back in 1963. It's basically Batman and Robin, the mummy crime fighter. The woman screams at the back, "It's Batman and Robin, but why are they wearing those mummy costumes?" Wouldn't we all like to know?
Well, you know, for the most occasions when I'm stepping out wearing my mummy costume, and I love to tell you it's less than more, but it happens a lot. It's kind of a private affair. You know, people are too busy getting involved in other people's business. So when I'm jumping out, I'm wearing a cape and cowl and a yellow belt at head to toe, and I'm out swinging on the line through Gotham City. Just let me do my thing. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I might actually end up helping out, but you'll never know if you're getting in my way. So just don't do it.
Yeah, it's funny because it says a device in an alien spacecraft turns Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson's skin green, so they wrap themselves in mummy-like bandages to conceal their secret identities while the fighting crime is Batman and Robin. How much of Batman's body is not covered with the costume already? Just his jaw and that's about it, right? But Robin, he's got the short shorts and the short sleeves, so I mean, I could understand him having more like leggings and a long sleeve shirt, but Batman, why do you need to do that?
You know, I'll tell you, if there was to be a Batman and Robin between Todd and I, there's no doubt who would be Robin, Todd.
Charlie, you would be the tallest Robin there ever was.
Ah, come on. That's my very first cosplay story in life was when I was 3 or 4 years old, Halloween. My brother is almost 2 years older than I am. We were going to do Batman and Robin. he declined to be Batman and instead chose to be Robin. He didn't want to wear the tights. How little did he know that obviously I'm a huge cosplayer, but he also does dabble in cosplay as well. There might even be tights involved. Who is to say? Things come full circle. But I have been Batman before. I haven't been since, but I've recently been, since our departure from a cosplay group we were part of for a lot of years, which had a no more Batmans policy. I have now started to think about doing a Batman of my own, but I'm thinking more of the Adam West style because I love the gray and the blue.
Takes less body padding for that type of look too.
You don't need the damn suit of armor that takes 20 minutes to get into and you can't drive a car in. So yes,
No.
that's
how else are you going to do the Bat Tuesday unless you got some flexibility?
Well, exactly. Yeah, if you can't turn your head.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So anyway.
Well, that is it for the intro of the show. But we now need to check in with our gal pal, our senior news correspondent. So without further delay, Madam Webb, take it away.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. We're ready for some news, Madam Webb, and hopefully you brought us some hot takes this week. We had heard, though, that your news sources are now starting to charge you for their news sources. So we got this covered, Charlie. They're raising their fees, so we're going to have to cut them a check very soon.
You know what? When the free press becomes expensive, that's when I'm cashing in my chips. We're moving to Russia with Black Widow. What do you think?
All right, sounds like a plan. Oh, well, the first story is very cool, and this is a continuation of the fact that DC is just really, they've fully embraced the animated telling of their stories. And this has gone on for, I don't know how many years, I mean, at least 11 years that we've gotten animated takes on their classic stories. And we are getting a new one. We're getting The Long Halloween, which is a classic done by Jeff Leb and Tim Sale. They were a team that did many, many comic collaborations throughout the years, but this was really their first one that really stood out. This story is all about tracking a year in the life of Batman, different crimes and things. Basically, he's in full detective mode, and he's basically going through the different holidays and seasons in a full year look in Gotham, teaming up with villains, and not teaming up with them, but facing villains, and lots of characters it's just a really iconic story. I definitely need to read it. I have never read it, but we are getting the animated version of this, and it's very cool because we're getting one Supernatural. Jensen Ackles is voicing Batman. He voiced Red Hood previously.
Right.
We've got Naya Rivera, who passed away from Glee, as Catwoman. We've got Josh Duhamel as Harvey Dent, Titus Welliver as Carmen Falcone, David Dalmachian playing the Calendar Man, and Troy Baker as the Joker.
And isn't David Dalmachian Polka Dot Man in the new Suicide Squad film?
He is indeed.
Look at that. He is a double Z-grade Batman villain threat. That is impressive.
This is pretty cool. I don't know how long, when they don't have a release date or anything for this. And the good news is these will be coming to HBO Max if you own the service too. So you can either get it when it launches or you can wait and it will be out there. And apparently they are splitting this into 2 volumes. The first one is arriving sometime this summer. So at a minimum, we should have the service probably this specific movie, part 1, by the fall to watch. So takes on this, gentleman?
Awesome. Like more stuff on HBO Max is great. The cast seems really, really good. So I'm like, I've always kind of dug the animated movies, but as of lately they've kind of been like not so great. So I'm I love HBO Max. This coming onto the service excites me, but I'm gonna watch it either way. But I just hope it delivers because, usually DC animated stuff has been pretty high quality, but lately it's just kind of hit or miss with me. I don't know.
I of the Batman stories, obviously this is a huge one. I feel like I've read it, but I don't necessarily recall a ton of details, but I know that it's really highly regarded. What was the creative team that originally published the book? Was it someone famous, someone reputable? Was it
Jeff Leb and Tim Sale?
Yeah, so it's like the top shelf talent. So yeah, how could this not be awesome? So yeah, I'm totally down. And April and I were just having this conversation after watching Space Jam trailer that we're going to talk about in a minute here, HBO Max, they've got the corner on the market. They're creating themselves, in my esteem, to be something that is going to build in viewership that won't go away. People who will continue to subscribe because they're always delivering something new on a variety of different stuff. And even for people like me who's like, I want to watch Star Trek for the 40,000th time, which I actually do because I do a podcast on Star Trek where we are currently reviewing older seasons because there aren't any new episodes going on. But still, knowing that there's new content, good content, and I don't have to have 40,000 different services. I can have Disney Plus and HBO Max and have those kind of be my two primaries. I think that's enormous. And to let other things drop away, Netflix is not where it's at for me. Hulu isn't really where it's at for me. But if I had to pick two, HBO Plus and HBO and Disney Max, I was going to call it HBO Max and Disney Plus would probably be the two for me. Hello.
And I don't think we had mentioned this before, but HBO Max is looking into an ad-supported service, kind of like Peacock or something like that. But they are saying it would be cheaper, obviously, but you would not get day-and-date things. It would be reduced, but you would get the HBO back catalog, and you would get those things eventually at a later date. So I think that is another entryway for people. If it's it's a not cheap service, it's $15. So I could see that being a barrier. So if that comes to people, they get that content and that catalog. I think that's a good idea. But yeah, that's $15 could be a barrier to a lot of people. But what can I say? What we're getting right now from HBO Max with movies launching same day and date, it's cheaper than going to the movies. So I think it's a win for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love HBO Max. Do we know the subscriber number that they have currently?
I thought they said like 20 million.
Wow, already. That's awesome.
And they launched. When did that launch? Was it November?
Uh-huh.
I think it was May of last year, actually.
May of last year. Okay. It just seems like it's really picked up steam. Yeah. It seems like it's really picked up steam since they made that announcement right in December or early December that everything in 2021 was going to have a mirrored approach with the cinema. So it's just fantastic.
So I will revise that number, 38 million. But that's HBO and HBO Max combined. But honestly, if you get HBO, you get HBO Max. And the problem with that was at first it wasn't on Roku for the longest time too. So I think it's on Roku now. Yeah.
I think that was the disconnect for me because I could watch it, but I had to come into the den where I had the PS4 plugged into the TV, and it was messing with my cycle. I was messing with my cycles, which sounds really dirty and weird. I don't have a cycle, but yes, once it was on the Roku in the living room, it made things easier for my little peon brain. So, but where that might be great for Warner Brothers, probably what's not great for Warner Brothers is the fact that they're canceling some stuff in the wake of the success of Justice League. It looks like the DC EU, as we know it, is kind of getting a big trident shoved through the middle of it. Warner Brothers has canceled Ava DuVernay's New Gods and James Wan's Aquaman spinoff, The Trench. So yeah, those got the axe this week as part of their apparently lack of willingness to move in a different direction. It sounds like, they've got a pretty big schedule. It sounds like over the next couple of years, The Batman with Rob Bat and Bat, Black Adam, obviously with The Rock, The Flash, which is going to be a Flashpoint film. Are we still feeling pretty confident?
I think that's what they were talking about. Yeah.
Okay, Zatanna, which is awesome, and then Aquaman 2, which again continues kind of in the same vector, but then if you think Flashpoint is moving some things around, that makes it possible for us to have a new Batman that's not obviously Batfleck. So, to me, it just really reaffirms their interest in starting over almost entirely. I don't know if the kind of lukewarm critical success of Wonder Woman 1984 has pushed them off of wanting to pursue things with that version of the character. Has there been anything about that, or am I just kind of spitballing? I don't know.
That was a bad movie, so I hope so.
Yeah, I can't necessarily disagree with you. So then, of course, on the streaming front, DC is also over on HBO Plus, of course, looking to engage with John Cena in The Peacemaker. a Batman spinoff about the Gotham City Police Department. Dun dun doot 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 doot. I'm Batman. And then a Green Lantern one, which Green Lantern is my thing these days, so I'm fired up. And then Justice League Dark. I'm wondering if that would include Zatanna or not, but it would be great if it did, because that was her jam. She's part of that squad, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Deadman, Swamp Thing, Constantine, and a few other, fringe characters that could be a lot of fun. Blue Devil was one of my. I actually have I have a little figure of Blue Devil because I'm a big fan of him from the '80s. But it is kind of interesting because this is a change with the New Gods and then the Trench. I don't think these projects probably were tracking very strongly with fans. The New Gods obviously would be part of what we saw with Dark Side and Apocalypse, New Genesis, those type of things. It's very much like Eternals / I'm thinking of Inhumans in that mode, even more like the gods of Thor and things like that. They have some more colorful and more, I'd say, characters have actually more personalities than those, but I don't know if anybody's really that excited about it, especially as if you're going to reboot Dark Side and we're going different place in the Snyderverse. That one probably doesn't make any sense anymore. The Trench, that was going to be a weird spinoff by James Wan doing some weird things in the Aquaman universe where we're going to go and look at those weird sea creatures. I don't know how that fits in. So
yeah, I get it. It sounds like a midichlorian level quest of who gives a you know what. You know what I mean? Like how it was purported that what Papa George really wanted to do with the sequel trilogy is make it all about the midichlorians and all this different bullshit.
Yeah.
Book of the Wills or whatever it's called.
I think we're good. We'll just leave it at that. I think we're good.
Yeah, there's a full plate ahead, and I mean, I don't know, Joe. You're on Twitter a lot. You've seen the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse thing, and I know some people are saying it's giving these creators the ability to tell their stories, and I get that. I just think the foundation was rocky at best with the Snyderverse, and I think we're going away from that, and I think we are done because of the Snyder Cut, and I think we're going to get new. We potentially have pieces of that still lay, but maybe because of Flashpoint, we get those same characters, but just in a different setting with less of that baggage. And I would love to see that there be their forward-looking approach. If we're going to keep Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Flash, I think that'd be a great approach.
Yeah, I think DC's problem is they don't know what they want to be still, and that they have like two successful characters like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and seeing, Wonder Woman 84 do what it did with that character, I kind of do want that Snyder, cut back. You know what I mean? I don't like where they took that character at all, nor that movie. Aquaman was all right. It was decent. But like after watching the Snyder cut and me, I've never really given a hoot about it. And then watching it and absolutely loving it. And I think this whole, getting rid of the New Gods and the Trench movie is kind of DC kind of reevaluating it once again of, okay, how can we set this universe right, and respect what maybe some of the things Snyder did right, and keeping some things and removing others. So I think there was a strong reception of Darkseid and some of the things in Snyder Cut that I think probably they want to keep and build on the characters that they have established with Wonder Woman and Flash, kind of, restarting, and that means taking the things that, worked and leaving the things that didn't out of it, and kind of rebooting the universe that way, because that's what this universe desperately needs. It's to reboot what was, and kind of go forward from there. A lot of people are like, does this reward bad behavior, when it comes to like the restore the Snyderverse? I don't think so. I think it was a legitimately good movie. This is me.
I feel you.
Yeah, and we had a mixed bag. I mean, your good friend Luke Lore was on the podcast when we talked about that. Joe, yeah. We know how you feel about Luke. Yeah. So love or hate, more hate filled love. You guys kind of I guess you would call it what, breakup. Lots of breakup relationships.
he just sucks. And I'm so sorry he was on the show previously.
Yeah, that's okay. We apologize. Yeah, it's a little feud, Charlie. They solve that feud every episode of their podcast together now. I guess they they only can get along for like 1 hour out of the week, but that's okay.
You guys, and I wasn't aware. You guys do a show together, and you're this big of frenemies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Frenemies is a strong word. Bitter rivals, I like better. But
so you're saying when you say it's a strong word, you mean it's not the correct. It's strong in a different fashion.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. I understand.
I think,
go for it, Tom.
Oh, I was going to say one last just word on this one. I think I think what people want and what's really going to happen are completely different now because they have completely different leadership now, and they've changed leadership multiple times too. That's the problem. They didn't have a Kevin Feige, but the reason why there's a Kevin Feige is because Kevin Feige did those things with Marvel before they were acquired. It's not like Kevin Feige was brought in after Disney acquired them. It makes it a little bit easier to have that leverage with Kevin Feige because of his success, whereas DC, they just haven't had it because they haven't had a consistent scope. They did individual projects. Now, really, which is kind of interesting to me, Jeff Johns is kind of gone from the creative mindset. Now it's Jim Lee. Jim Lee has a different mindset about what you can do and without characters, and he's kind of the Joe Quesada type of character that has been for Marvel into their movies, and Jim Lee is this way. So that's why I'm thinking we're getting a different viewpoint with Jim Lee's in his perspective versus where it was before.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So more to come. And then breaking news. Thank you to Joe. Joe, if you want to take this, tell us all about it.
Guys, did you know that Black Widow's coming out July 9th? Because there's a trailer.
Are you fucking serious? Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What? I did not know. I thought it was coming out in May.
No, I thought it was coming out in November. So, yeah, we all know Black Widow's coming out July 9th on Disney+. They released a new trailer, which is kind of like it's kind of like, Black Widow's history. We see like snippets of her in Infinity War, snippets of her in the first Avengers movie, and then some truly, into her like as a child shots of her there. This is a very thematical looking trailer. If that was the word I'm going to use, I'm going to use it.
I think that sounds fine.
Yeah. Ton of Michael Bay explosions. Ton of July 9th. Don't miss out. And man, just the score they used here got me all sorts of hyped for this movie, man. I'm pumped. Disney Plus is a strange bag because it's kind of opposite to HBO Max, where every month you're getting a different movie. Who cares if it's Mortal Kombat and it's going to probably suck? It's there and it's kind of like premiering. Where Disney's like, we don't have a lot, but we know the IP's so strong you're going to watch. So I like what they've done here where it's like WandaVision for 2 to 3 months, Captain or Falcon Winter Soldier for like a month and a half, the Loki show, and then you get, Black Widow there for their premiere, pay $30, which gladly I would for this. So yeah, it's cool. And a part of me is like, this does suck that I won't see it in the theater because it's gonna, I could see this, doing some major traffic, but great for Disney Plus. And the whole thing is, even if you don't like, you have to pay extra. I get it because it's a subscription service. It goes to what do you think the audience is willing to pay for it? Obviously, I think the audience is dying to watch an MCU movie, and they're going to pay that extra wampum. So, yeah, I'm really excited for Black Widow, more so than I've ever been.
I think that's the first time anyone has ever said wampum on our show.
That is a exclusive to you that you have won it over.
Well, thank you. I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much.
It is interesting. I mean, I'm more jazzed for this movie than I was before. Thank goodness it's not an origin story, but we are getting background on her character and her people that were part of her past told in the present with some flashbacks. I like this. I think it's going to be really entertaining. I think it's going to be, we're going to have, as far as I know, there's no real superheroes in this. They're basically all spy, martial artists, things like that. Although what is it? The Red? Oh God, Red Star.
Red Guardian.
He has some abilities, doesn't he, or does he not?
Well, I wouldn't tell you I know a ton about the character, but I get the feeling, as you said, these are all depowered people along the lines of, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, Winter Soldier has some abilities, but still, yeah. I think it's mostly depowered, what they refer to as costumed athletes in the comics.
Yeah, he was apparently Red Guardian was apparently the Captain America equivalent for the Soviet Union. Whether he's based as a knockoff super soldier serum or not, I don't know. But yeah, really excited for that guy. And it is interesting, Joe, to your point of the way they're releasing, and it's very different because I think we've heard rumblings that the people at Pixar are kind of mad because it seems like all the Pixar movies are differentially going to basically just day and date. And there's no theatrical release for Luca, which is the next Pixar film. It's just going straight to Disney Plus. So it is a weird approach, to be honest.
It is, and I think it just goes to the what are you willing to pay and what are you not willing to pay, and Disney kind of making those decisions. And they know if they can get extra money out of Black Widow, they're going to, because they'll get a lot of new people on the service, but they already have 100 million people subscribed to Disney Plus, so they don't need, they hit a great number. Now they're like, what if we could get $30 out of 100 million users? That's what they're seeing. So to me, yeah, I think Disney's making kind of the right call here if you're a business. And for us, we don't care because we're so hungry for new content, especially something out of the MCU. That personally, I don't mind paying it, because I'm so hungry for MCU content. But I think if this was any other situation, we'd all be pissed off at it. But since we are where we are right now in the state of the world, we're totally fine with it for the most part.
So crazy. My goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. But for now, Mighty Ducks is on Disney Plus. Watch it.
I hear good things.
I do too.
Do it now.
Absolutely.
Do it now.
Yeah, so next we got... in the words of the reviewer from ABC, we've got a jamming good trailer. Was it Gene Shalit? Was that his name?
Yo, yeah, your buddy.
Gene Shalit loved his puns when he did his movie reviews. John, what was his name? John, the guy from SNL.
John Lovitz.
Yes, John Lovitz used to do a great impression of Gene Shalit. So, kids, that's really old ancient history, but go check it out. There's probably some clips out there for Gene Shalit. He's a very funny looking man with a big mustache. Oh, well, moving on, though, we got a trailer for Space Jam, the New Legacy, I believe is what it's called. I love that they are going all in with just keeping Space Jam and just, it's not Space Jam 2. So we got this. It's basically, I wasn't sure when I saw this at first. I thought was it going to be all animated? Was it going to be like the original where it was a mix of like that Roger Rabbit technique? And it truly will be some animation, some live action, some mix as well. So a little bit of all things. And we are getting the Toon Squad versus the Goon Squad, starring LeBron James. And what makes this one really looks different after watching the trailer, it looks like they're doing a player one version where basically they're bringing in the WB catalog of characters, as you saw in the trailer with giant what was the robot, oh god, I'm blanking his name.
Oh, the Iron Giant.
You saw King Kong.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool. This is going to be on in July 16th 2021, HBO Max and in theaters. So once again, more content coming. This is one of those things that goes across many different fan bases, from the original with MJ, people like the cartoon characters, also LeBron James. So this is like a weird, like multi target demographic that I think is going to play out huge. So, Joe, you say you've got a long history with the Space Jam franchise?
So we were talking before the show, and y'all like, oh yeah, this movie seems great, blah, blah, blah. And I said, this is how I'm going to make y'all feel old, because when I was a young kid, this is what they would play. People that are young like me know this. They'd wheel the TV out into a classroom. They put in the VHS because, public education.
Oh, hold on. Young like you. This happened when Todd and I were in high school too. Give me a,
Yeah, but like I was in elementary school.
Oh,
I was in third, fourth.
Christ's sakes! Oh my God! All right, fine.
So
fine. Please continue.
Yeah, sure. Pop in the laser disc, the VHS, and we'd watch Space Jam. Like that's like if your substitute teacher would come in smoking a cigarette, going, "All right, kids, this is what your teacher wanted you to watch. watching Space Jam, and you just dig it. You're just into it. So I have a whole lot of nostalgia here because of public education system. But honestly, this looked freaking awesome, guys. Like, this looked legitimately like a really fun time. And yeah, there's like a ton of people in the background, like ton of like, classic characters of like all different types of universes colliding into Space Jam. Or what do they call it? I think it's like the serververse.
The serververse with Don Cheadle.
With Don Cheadle.
War Machine.
Right.
Yeah, with War Machine. So I like what I saw here. First, LeBron, surprisingly good actor for like an athlete. Like, I think he was in that one movie with, oh my God, the guy from Barry, and he was like fantastic in that. And so like I don't have his, like, I don't doubt his acting abilities for a kids film, definitely. And having like Looney Tunes, that strikes a chord with me, because that's what I was raised on as a kid, was the old classic Looney Tunes cartoon. So having that same cinematic, and even like when he's going into the universe, it gives you the little chime when you're watching a Looney Tunes cartoon. Awesome. Also, awesome to see Ryan Coogler's the producer of this.
Absolutely. Black Panther's Ryan Coogler.
Mm-hmm. So it's really awesome to see. For me, as a little Hispanic boy growing up, I'm seeing, I'm seeing a cast of like, I don't see a white person in here, and that's fucking awesome. Sorry for the curse, but like, that's really awesome. Like,
the kids love the F-bombs, Joe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, the kids do. They love it.
They do on this show because I'm on this show. So knock yourself out.
And I get complaints from the children.
I know. And the key point is you get the complaints. I don't. So I don't care.
Also,
I'm kidding.
I'm seeing some stuff here. So you also got one of the dragons from Game of Thrones, but in one snapshot, you see an Agent Smith looking character and a guy that kind of looks like Morpheus behind him. That's cool. Oh, and Pennywise is in there as well.
Oh,
so this movie just looks fantastic. It does give me like a Ready Player One vibe, but hopefully this movie will be a lot better than that. And hopefully this movie knows what it is. If it's produced by Ryan Coogler, I have faith that he absolutely knows what makes Space Jam tick. Because I'm excited. I'm excited for this movie. I'm definitely gonna be watching this day one.
Someone had pointed out the what are the characters from A Clockwork Orange? The guys that they do all the bad. They're in it too. This is like, those are not kid appropriate characters.
Right. Yeah, very much not.
Yeah, they're digging in deep with some weird shit. There's no doubt about it. Oh my
goodness, yeah. We're probably gonna have some well, you got Pennywise, so we've covered the serial killer. Wow, good times. Yeah. It's all for the kids, like Wu-Tang says.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, and then lastly, Charlie, we had April 1st, and as always, I didn't see a lot of jokes, but I did see a few for April Fool's Day. So we just wanted to go and talk about some of the ones you saw that were entertaining.
You bet. I saw a couple, and then you plunked in a couple here, so I'll look at your reference. But I saw they love to do this to our Star Trek fans. Paramount okays the Star Trek blank series. So in this case, it was one that kind of punched me in the gut. It was Star Trek Riker being my favorite character, saying that they would give us a show of his adventures in his first command on the Titan, the Starship Titan, which happened after the movies ended. So, boo! And then, not surprising, Justice League sequels announced, #restore the Snyder.
Ooh, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah, that is hurtful. So, Todd, what are these? Without me looking, what are these other two?
Well, I'm just gonna say the other two I put here. Heinz announced Gravy, which is Craisin Gravy.
Oh God. No.
Joe, this one's for you. Sanic G Fuel. Did you see that?
It. Yeah. I did not see that. I'm gonna say something about April Fool's Day. It sucks, and I hate it. Most of the time, I just loathe it, especially this week, which was not good for Joseph this week. April Fool's usually is just like, I, as a PR person, I follow this one PR account, and they said something along the lines of like, so it's going to be really interesting to see who nails April Fool's tomorrow, and who has to put out a public apology. And that's usually where it lies. But like, these are really fun. I like the Sanic G Fuel for sure.
I have an extra special hatred of April Fool's Day because when I was graduating from Michigan State in 1999, I got married on that day in a civil ceremony.
I was 8 years old, Charlie.
To my first ex-wife in East Lansing, Michigan, which I was graduating from Michigan State. This was a week after the very famous 1999 post-March Madness riots, where students rose up and decided to destroy a portion of East Lansing after we bombed out of the final. Was it the Final Four, Todd?
Yeah, I think it was the Final Four. Yeah,
it was against Duke. I think Duke. It was we lost to Duke. So yeah, and my witnesses were my cousin Rachel, and I feel like Steve Borowski was my other witness. Was he still around at that time? Yeah, there you go. So we were married for 2 years. I did get a son out of the deal, but a really wretched ex-wife. So I'm also not fond of April Fool's Day. Would love to go back and call it a mulligan. So any year that I remember to, I will, as I did this year, I'll say happy blank anniversary to my first ex-wife. This year I said thanks for all the misery.
Well, maybe you can flashpoint that there, Charlie.
Oh, could we really? But it's funny because I just watched that Flashpoint animated movie, and that did not end up working out.
No, it didn't. She could still be your spouse. That'd be even better. Oh yeah. A couple more though. Mona Price invented the sit squat desk. So there you go. We have Duolingo's toilet paper, where you can read things on your toilet paper roll. Fluid Master, who makes all of your toilet supply products, came up with the emergency wiping rock.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Firehouse Subs Meatball of the Month Club, where you get meatballs sent to you, and they're probably not edible by the time you get them. Jack Link's Jerky Cologne. Lego Smart Bricks, where they automatically slide out of the way instead of you stepping on them.
It's really convenient.
Canadian Space Agency Mars Surprise. I didn't know Canada had a space agency. Bud Light Seltzer Pizza Variety Pack.
I want it.
Yes,
I'm all over it. I'm all over it. It sounds great.
V by Velveeta skincare.
Oh, I'll buy that too.
God, I love it. Oh, and last one though, really. Green Giant invented cauliflower peeps.
Oh boy! Oh. Wow, that is tough.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, there weren't as many big ones this year. I think they just know at this point, until we're in a better state, just don't fool us, because things are going to get wild on the interwebs.
Absolutely.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, excellent. Well, that is it for the news, but now it's time for us to go to a brunch, gentlemen, where we can have mimosas and listen to some horrible cover bands at the Geek Easy.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy eating our cauliflower peeps, and we're going to ask Joe what he is nerding out about this week.
Honest to goodness, when it comes to my entertainment, there's only about one or two things that I have been watching religiously. Actually, three things. But one we're talking about, which is, Kong Vs Godzilla. So I'll save that. What I have been nerding out on, guys, my big piece of entertainment, is Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, baby.
The transition right there. Yeah,
it is such... WandaVision had more conversation about what was happening next, where this one is more, what this story is. And it's giving me exactly what I want out of it, which is like every episode, you give you a little fighting, we give you a little exposition dump, we give you a tease, and then we give you a reveal. This episode very much did the same thing, episode 3, and sets up some very good questions that people might be asking themselves. Some is this character good? Is this character bad type of stuff? And the one thing that I definitely love what they've done so far with Zemo. So no spoilers there, but I'm really, really digging what they've done with Zemo, and really Anthony Mackie and oh God, what's the guy that plays Bucky's name?
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan. Their chemistry is just amazing. And there's one close-up shot too with Sebastian Stan where I'm just like, if you don't do a Luke Skywalker thing with Sebastian Stan soon, I'm gonna be upset. They need to do it. He has the Hamill look. Just do it, damn it.
Does he have the Hamel wine?
He could do it. It's Sebastian Stan. So yeah, I'm really pumped. I love this show. It's exactly what I want. It's like, give me like Fast and the Furious meets Marvel. This is what this is. At least to me, when it comes to like the fist fight action. So yeah, that's what I've been doing that on.
So Charlie, we also watched it too. I will say that this feels like what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should have been.
Yeah,
because this is a
big time
series.
Big
this is not a
time,
Marvel
yeah.
movie. So people say, "Oh, it's like a Marvel." No, it's not. This is not paced like anything like a Marvel movie.
Right.
And it does have a different. It does feel a little bit different. I will say though, they do travel to Madripoor, and Madripoor
Right. Juicy.
is part of Wolverine and the X-Men, that type of country. Why does Madripoor look like it's the U.S.? Like it's like Harlem or something? Because there is no Asian people in this place, and it's an Asian place, part of the country. I'm like, guys, do you have to get that so wrong?
They were. It was just out of frame the whole time, Todd. You just missed it.
I mean, that's where the hand come from. Come on.
Right. Exactly. And I think if you go a little further south on the peninsula, you get the foot.
Baby.
Oh,
go south of that, you get the Savage Land. There we go. It's
right.
all over the map. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think, with the characters they brought in, we don't have to spoil it. I mean, it's one of those things where we got some familiar faces, and we're seeing where this is going, because all of those threads from Winter Soldier are really coming back in place, and the repercussions and all those things from that, especially with Zemo. Although I do say, what was the idea of the mask? I know he saw it and he's like, I'm going to wear that. I know it's in the comics, but it's kind of curious he wore it once, right? And then took it off.
Yeah. That was strange. But
is he cold?
Yes, he's very cold.
I guess maybe there's like some protection, so like someone hits him in the face, it doesn't ruin his complexion. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh well. Charlie, any additional thoughts on it?
As I said, this has been my most highly anticipated genre offering, certainly here in the first half of the year. And it's everything I'm looking for. I'm really waiting for the turn with the John Walker character, because again, this must be like the 10th episode in a row I've mentioned my fondness for the John Walker, the captain run with Gruenwald, and how he becomes the U.S. agent, which is a character that I'm fond of, just because he's such a dick that you kind of like to watch him and see what dumb thing he does next. And there's a great miniseries going on with him right now where they're taking a lot of chances to just take some cheap shots at him, and it's kind of funny and satirical. But you kind of get some indications in this that he's realizing he's outclassed. He doesn't really have to have what it takes on a power level. So I'm wondering if he's going to wind himself a little more motivationally to get his hands on some of this serum to power broker to get himself enhanced, and that might turn him into a little bit more of an unstable character, which is what happened in the comics. So that's the thing I'm banking towards. I want to see him get a little bit more unstable, which is going to have to lead to a big showdown at the end of them having to take on not only Carly or Carl, because she was gender flipped for the series, as the Flag Smasher in a big showdown, but also possibly John Walker as a power imbalanced super soldier. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. That's kind of my end game, air quotes, as it were, for what we're going to see. And again, we're halfway through this series. This was episode 3.
Oh yeah,
6. So things are going to pick up considerably. I'm sure there's a lot more story to tell, but yeah, that's my big prediction / wish list / headcanon fanfic scenario that I'd like to see this play out, is that I'd like to see him be kicking it big time when it comes to the end of it. So that is what I'm jazzed up about.
I do have one more question though. When I think this is probably pretty universal. When somebody says, "Do you know who I am?" that just puts them in jerk zone right there.
Yeah.
Well, there's the very famous one that was I think it was deputy mayor in the city of Detroit, and not remembering her name. But of course, I'm a Detroit native, and this was back when I lived in Southeast Michigan. That this deputy mayor, a woman, got pulled over by a Detroit police officer, and she was doing something obviously worthy of getting herself pulled over, and she blared at this poor innocent traffic cop, "Do you know who the F I am?" When is that? You're right. When does that?
It's never worked.
When does that ever end up going so great? So, yeah, big time.
Absolutely. And once again, that guy is Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son.
Right.
Oh, really?
Right,
Yep.
and I was rewatching episode 2 because we had some company stay overnight, and my friend had not seen episode 2, so we watched that first scene where they're over the convoy and he jumps and Cap jumps down, and I said, "Look, everybody, it's Captain Overbite."
My brother hates. We watch it together. He hates the new Captain America. He's like, and it's so much so like it was ruining the show for him. 2 episodes in, he's like, I just don't like him. I just hate him. Why do they have to do this? And I'm like, Dan, these are the emotions they want you to have. They want you to hate this guy's guts. Everything you're saying, the show's succeeding in that regard. So like I like where the show is right now, and I definitely think Charlie's on the money of what's going to happen to Mr. Walker as the show progresses, for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
Just don't attack the guy online. He's playing a character, guys.
Yeah,
not him.
please. Yeah, he's a human being. Let's not be complete morons.
So, Charlie, you and I were talking about comics and where they're going. I was actually at a comic book store, and I'll talk about that in a second. But you kind of came to a conclusion on where you're headed.
I did, and it's pretty widely documented on this show that my consumption habits with comics have changed a lot, certainly over the years. Now, I was a traditional print comic reader from really age 6. I started when I got my first comic book at the local pharmacy in my hometown of Grosse Pointe, Michigan. The Village was the name of the shopping district. Then I picked up a copy of the original Marvel Star Wars issue 60, which I have a framed copy of it here in my house because it's very special to me. From there, it was Star Wars, then the Indiana Jones comic that Marvel was publishing, then G.I. Joe. That turned into superhero comics when I hit about age 10, Amazing Spider-Man, then the Avengers, Fantastic Four, West Coast Avengers, et cetera, et cetera. Star Trek comics, which fell in with my love of Star Trek. Never really DC hero comics ever really so much at all. It went in waves. I dropped off in college. I tuned back in a little bit. Then I went for a long gulf where I didn't do anything. I got some trade paperbacks here and there. Had to sell my comic collection when I was on a little harder times when I got divorced about 12 years ago. And then in 13, I picked it up again. I started it with a few little issues of stuff, from a local comic shop. I would go to Comic-Cons. I would pick up one of those blind bags of like 20 comics for $10 or whatever it is. So, and then I started to build back up, and my long boxes started to surge. And during this time, Marvel in particular, which again I stick largely with Marvel, went to this model where they give you they would you'd get a print comic, whether it was through a print sub or you'd buy it at a shop. It would have a little tear off digital code in it. Punch it in, and then you can read it on your device. Which it took me a few years to come around to that, and I was doing it dual when I finally decided a year or so ago that what I'm gonna just read. I'm gonna take the code, and then the thing goes in the bag, and it goes in the box, and goes in the box. And then it turned into, I'm just going to give it away. I gave it to my friend's kid, and she would read it. And then I finally got to the point, Todd knows that I do plasma donation a couple times a week. So I was at the place yesterday. I was reading a comic on my Tuttle. I'm looking at unread comics and trying to keep up with comics from the last 3 or 4 months that I've acquired and haven't read. And it finally hit me like an anvil over the head. I got to stop doing this. Reading comics has not become fun. It's become a chore. I used to dedicate like an hour before going to bed to just reading comics and staying up on stuff. And I was doing a reading project on Marvel Unlimited, trying to read, the Avengers run all the way through. And I said, I'm not, and even with the print subs being as cheap as they are, if you subscribe through Midtown and in auto renewal, they're like $2.20 each. I'm like, even that is wasted because I'm not doing it. My Marvel Unlimited subscription lapsed, but they had cut their upload time from 6 months down to 3 months. So, but what I looked is that some of the stuff they've uploaded, I have purchased and haven't read, which is totally insane.
Zingo. There you go.
Zingo. So I went through, I sent an email to customer service at Midtown yesterday. I said, please cancel everything and refund it. I got back I'm getting back almost $100 of stuff that I put down for a 12-month sub is $23.99 each. So I'm going to take that money. I'm going to sign back up to Marvel Unlimited, and I'm going to buy. Yeah, I'm going to buy comics, I suppose, here and there as they interest me. But if I forget to do it, they're going to show up on Marvel Unlimited pretty quickly anyway. And the same thing with the DC Infinite, Todd. That's still at 6 months, but still, there are 50 billion things I haven't read off of that, and I still like to manage things through Comixology. I love Comixology. I have Comixology Unlimited. I use it to read stuff that we talk about on all three of our the podcasts that I'm on for this network. But this is the big change for me. I haven't been non-book reading in almost a decade, so this is kind of a big thing for me. But I feel like this is the way it's going to be from now on. I feel like this is the final change for me.
Honestly, book learning is overrated.
Book learning.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like those words on those pages. They confuse me with all their little squiggles.
Right.
Exactly. It's like, what is what? You know, what word is what? Like when you say it like 7 times, it loses its meaning. So like, what's even the point? You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
What is what? How soon?
Who are they trying to impress with those words?
Exactly. You're not impressing me. That's who.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I mean, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but I really, it just feels like it's more of a your pile of shame that just files up. It's like, oh crap, but you feel like I have to keep buying them or get behind. But I'm like, no, you're already behind because you aren't reading. So it's a race nobody will ever win. Comics are monthly; they don't come out once a year, so you do feel like you do have to keep up. So yeah, it's not a bad idea, and those services are very affordable, and it's well worth it.
Yeah, with my hashtag Biden bucks, which he's giving me, I'm gonna buy a cheap little tablet. I'm gonna finally invest in Comixology, and I'm gonna get into this whole like book reading thing and see where that brings me. That's for sure.
My. So yeah, it's a bold new era. I am now 100% digital. And I will actually, because I've got a couple of toy shows coming up, I'm helping a friend sell off a collection of Legos and figures and stuff. I'm probably going to roll out some of those long boxes I still have and do, dollar comics, $2 comics, or, buy 10 for $1 or something like that, just to get them the hell out of here because I don't need them anymore. They're complete, with the exception of comics that no longer exist anywhere except in print form, like the ongoing adventures of Indiana Jones, the Marvel series from the 80s that I loved. It exists nowhere else.
Yeah.
Not in trade paperback form, not on digital. So those will stay put. And then anything else I will probably just get rid of, because why? Todd, you and I have had this conversation before. What's going to become of that, in 30, 40, 50 years when we die?
Nobody wants my X-Men 252.
Nobody cares anymore. It's all useless. So that's it for me. So kind of a big life decision. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I'm in that same mode too. Although I do dabble every once in a while, which was yesterday. My wife and I were out yesterday. It was our 20th wedding anniversary. We had just wanted to have a day out. Well, thank you. We wanted to just have a day out, and we didn't do anything very exciting. Lunch, a restaurant that wasn't packed so we could be safe. And then we went to our local comic book shop. And my wife is a big fan of just getting new issues. She's a writer, so she likes to see what's out there and read. So she found some stuff she was interested in. But myself, I got that second and third issue of Charlie, that one John Ridley, like premium prestige series that was with Black Lightning.
Okay.
So the second formats have come out, and that's like more of a magazine size. So it's different. And I don't know if those are going to be out in DC Universe or DC Universe Unlimited or Infinite anytime soon. So I wanted to get those because I think I like that. Plus, I like to support the local comic book shop. So those are the type of things I will buy in shop if it's unique and different prestige versus just a digital comic, which is just for reading. But the one book I wanted to talk about that I did pick up was called Infinite Frontier #0. This is DC's basically next big rejiggering of their universe after Rebirth. So we had Rebirth. We had a couple of different storylines along the way, and then the one that came out of that was really big was the Dark Metal, basically series, which was just kind of over the top, crazy chromium covers, but introduced basically one of the things that happened in Rebirth was basically it kind of cut off the gateways into the other DC Earths. So, but there was a gap in that called the Source Wall. Mm-hmm. The Source Wall was basically holding back those other universes or those other Earths from coming through. Basically, in one of the stories, Darkseid actually was joined into the Source Wall, and basically we thought he was done. Well, they had to actually reopen the source wall because of this threat with the Dark Knight's Metal situation. That introduced a character called the Batman Who Laughs, who's kind of freaky and kind of crazy.
Totally freaky.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where we're introducing these new characters, which are really becoming iconic. And from that, we did have basically the next stage, and that was DC Future State, which is kind of a one-off saying, this is what the DC universe could look like in 10 years from now and beyond. And it was kind of more of a one-off. There's 4-issue series of those coming out of each character if you're really interested. But this is all leaning into DC Infinite Frontier, which is where it all culminates to where they've essentially taken everything back, Charlie. We've had this with DC. It's like, oh, there's going to be this and this and this. They basically said, nope, we're going back. Everything is up for play. There's no like hard lines, and they are revisiting classic characters, classic storylines, blending them. And they even have Superman back in his iconic costume. So I'm very happy that DC is finally stopping to reinvent everything and just say everything we've ever done is up for grabs. And we're going to embrace and kind of blend some things in ways that really appreciate the heritage of DC. And I like that. We got green, and they basically, this issue is like 48 pages long, but it's kind of giving you a hint of where each character is going to go. Very iconic. The Teen Titans are going to play a big role in this. The Green Lanterns, where we had some of those characters kind of have their focus on where they're going, bringing in some of the new characters that have been introduced. They show what the Scarecrow is going to look like. He looks kind of really freaky. It's just really interesting, and I'm very excited. And they just touched on everyone across the board.
Would that be something that, as a burgeoning Green Lantern-er, that I should reach into, or should I hold out until this shows up on DCI?
I would wait.
Okay.
I think that's the good thing that you can. So I think that's a good thing. This actually, Infinite Frontier books will start coming out in July. So this is kind of like
that's plenty of time, because I have. It's funny. I now have a lot of reading homework for our 3 shows. I have to. That's one that I'll still have to get the Star Wars books monthly, because we talk about that over on Holocron. We have a Star Wars Green Lantern thing coming up on Code 47, and then we have Invincible that I'm reading for this show in a couple of weeks. So I do still have homework, so I kind of have to prioritize that homework over other things. But it's nice to not feel that the shame pile is just going to keep crushing down on top of me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just something to look forward to. Like I said, it was just one of the things I bought there at the store. And depending on what's out, if I see other stories that are kind of in that more prestige format, I will purchase those. But I'm not going to go back into the weekly or monthly comic subscription, just like you. So, yeah. We're in a brave new future, gentlemen, and it makes it affordable and opens these stories up for everybody, because everybody has a tablet or device.
It's freedom, baby. Freedom.
Except for Joe, for some reason. Joe doesn't, he's too cool and hip. He just has his little pocket calculator computer. And
you gotta do what you gotta do. Home skill.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, we are going to pay our checks, walk away from the Geek Easy, and we're getting on a plane to the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome for a topic or game to be entertained. The mutants are ready, Joe. We end up finding out the Thunderdome actually exists in the middle of the Earth.
Yep.
Where Kong is king.
Yep.
My goodness. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
But
well,
anyway.
Joe, we're going to do the spoiler cast, but because you are so passionate about this, you tell us a little bit about how we got to Kong versus Godzilla.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Vroom, vroom. Drive it, son. Drive it.
All right. Okay. Listen, I watched the Godzilla movies, so you don't have to. Let's be real, first and foremost. Godzilla with Garrett Edwards, right? That directed the first one. Not great. Not good. They lied to us. We thought Bryan Cranston was going to be the star of the show, and it wasn't. It was the lame Quicksilver. But we got the understanding that there are titans that walk among us, and that this massive creature called Godzilla might just be our savior. We then skip to Kong, which goes back in time and sets up that there are multiple titans. And there's teams, it looks like. There's good titans, there's bad titans, and there's some titans that just want to be left alone on an island, and that is Skull Island. We then get, I believe it's the hint here, that Kong and Godzilla have had a blood feud. They don't like each other. They fought before. There was a war. We don't know who won or what happened that caused these two to fight, but they're the last of their kind. Skip to, oh, actually, it's this one. Godzilla King of the Monsters, where we have Ghidorah coming down, which I like that they follow very, like, true to form. Ghidorah comes from another world, another universe, and crashes down where Godzilla has to go and fight them to reign as the king of all the monsters. And then we have this little, painting of Kong, Godzilla fighting each other. And that leads to Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Oh,
and you might say, that's not a lot of story. That's not a lot of lead up. Gang, it's a bunch of big kaiju fighting each other. We don't need a whole lot of story. We don't need a whole lot of character development here. Big monkey versus big lizard, they're fighting each other. One shall stand, one shall fall. Leading into this film, guys, I want to know what your thoughts are.
You know, I'm having a very hard time disagreeing with your assessment. And even I said to Oxford, I'm like, dude, this is dumb. And I'm like, you have a big lizard punching a big monkey, and the ending is nuts, which we'll go on to illustrate that. And I'm like, when I really disengage and associated within those terms, what isn't to enjoy? You know, because there was even one Johnny said to me, says, "Oh boy, a big CGI punch up, whatever." And I'm like, well, you might be right, but I'm like, we're watching. There's a couple of times where it's like, you know, Godzilla would take a slap at Kong, he'd go flying, and I'd go, "Oh fuck," you know, or I go, "Oh yeah," you know, I would be like, "Well, it's just very, very, very visceral." You know, I was into it. So I'm just like, you know, why am I grousing about this? This isn't such a bad thing. I don't have to be such a nudnik about this deal. I could just kind of let this art flow over me.
Yeah, a lot of
Charlie, embrace the dumb fun.
Yeah, embrace the dumb.
The dumbery.
And I like that this movie does that. Like, real talk. This ain't winning an Oscar. This is here for our just dumb entertainment. Turn your brain off. So leading into this, like, my favorite movie out of the Kongzillaverse is Kong Skull Island.
God bless.
So I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I'm a stand for Godzilla. I loved it as a kid. That's what me and my mom would bond over. We'd watch all the bad Godzilla movies prior. And so, like, watching Godzilla vs. Kong, walking into it, they've just done such a great job of humanizing Kong. And it's easier to humanize him because, you know, he is an ape, so it's easier to get, you know, those facial animations to kind of give him character, give him emotions. But at the same exact time, just, Kong felt more like a character and less of like this force that Godzilla is. And I don't think either of the Godzilla movies did a great job of me sympathizing with Godzilla. It's just we're at the mercy of him. And hopefully it's on our side type of deal. So for me, the other reason with Godzilla is the human characters. Oh my God, they just don't make sense. They just don't make sense. Nothing they do makes sense.
The weakest link, and Tad, you always had kind of a similar input about the Transformers movies. Like, nobody gives a shit about seeing Shia LaBeouf do any damn thing. Yeah, you know, because it's a Michael Bay's movie, you want to look at Megan Fox's, you know, butt, tight pair of jeans. Yeah. But just go away. Let the robots do their thing. Maybe not make them so racist blatantly. All the
they're just made that way, Charlie. Oh wait, bad.
Yeah, I was just. Oh, really? So that makes their systemic racism.
Programmed racism. All right,
there, Todd. No. All right, yes, programmed racism is not acceptable. I agree.
Yeah, and so like when it comes to Godzilla vs. Kong, the humans in Kong were not just like humanized better, but they had things that actually made sense to do, and the fights with them actually had some sort of stakes. But it was still action packed. So like even when Kong was going and fighting the big kaiju, there were these small monsters that the humans had to fight and were at the mercy of as well. That felt really, awesome and fun. And with Godzilla, it's just like, we're in this submarine, we're chasing Godzilla. How does this work? Shut up. It's it's a whole lot of really got to turn your brain off. And what sucks about Godzilla, I think, to put the story short, is it's always a whole lot of exposition dumps as to the reasons why these things are happening, which is one of the huge problems with Kong vs. Godzilla. Is this is very much a Kong movie. He is the protagonist. He's actively doing things, and Godzilla's kind of the villain here up until the very end, which is fine. But it's at the same exact time paced like it's a Godzilla movie. All these humans are running around. They're talking to each other. They're explaining why these things are happening. Exposition dump. Even, the motives of these characters don't make sense. The reason why they're doing things don't necessarily make sense, or just are so scrambled and so fast spoken that you don't know what's going on. So one of my big issues with Kong vs. Godzilla, again, I'm not expecting a perfect movie here, though this is something I've always wanted as a kid, is Millie Bobby Brown, the dad from Into the Spider-Verse, and the kid from Deadpool 2, all their scenes could have just been taken out of the movie, and the movie would have been a little shorter, a little tighter, and a little better. Because none of their acting, none of what they did, to me, actually served a legitimate purpose, other than to introduce the villain and introduce the Doomsday character. And that was kind of it. And I felt like you could have done that in a more proactive and less time-consuming way. But I will say this. Every Kong scene was good and solid for the most part. There were some, like the Spanish chick, hashtag to us Hispanics, were the most attractive people alive. She was very stunning. But like her entrance was bad, and those space Teslas that were flying were bad. But like, other than that, I enjoyed the Kong scenes with the little girl and Kong so much so that I was like, watching this movie, I was wishing for, man, if only they made another Kong movie before this. I want to see why he has this attachment with this small girl. We know why he saved her, but the rest of the tribe died. But I would have loved to see that. I want to see, like, they kind of just set us up of, here's Kong. He's in containment for some reason on this island that he had no plans to leave anyway. It's like, now we have to move him because there's an Earth inside of our Earth. And somehow inside that Earth's core is a sun. We're not going to talk about it. That lights up this whole world. It's just a lot of stuff is sometimes too dumb to turn your brain off. It's like, my brain is already off and I'm poking holes at this thing, right?
It's like your brain in hibernation mode, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And even in hibernation mode, I'm like, something's wrong here. Yeah. So all the vehicles to get us to these fights don't work. Luckily enough, and all the acting is absolutely phoned in. Luckily enough, when you get to the fights, they're freaking awesome. I would have liked one more for sure, but like the setup where they're fighting on ships, like on this helicarrier, you're like, yeah, sure, this helicarrier should sink, but this is fucking cool. This is awesome because you are getting like a different fight rather than here's a giant city that we're in and we're going to destroy it all. It is a different setup, and one definitely has an advantage, Godzilla, over the other, that is Kong, and you're seeing that play out, which is really cool. At the same exact time, too, the last fight scene, which is like 30-ish, 35 minutes long, is stellar. And the lighting, when they're in Hong Kong, is beautiful. And Hong Kong's been through enough, and that city is absolutely wrecked by the time these two are done fighting. Awesome fight scene there. Absolutely great. You're seeing the mashup between what happens if Godzilla does, and it's pretty much a level playing field, come up against King Kong, and who would win. And it is Godzilla at the end of the day. And seeing Mechagodzilla come out, Guys, that's like that's the closest thing to seeing God I think I'll ever get to.
Oh, really?
I love Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla was my jam, and though I'm not like fond of the design, it's like at least he's here, and he's fucking kicking ass. I don't care how we got here. I don't care that it's actually Ghidorah's consciousness in Mechagodzilla. I don't care. That's Mechagodzilla. Though it looks like a Power Rangers, Megazord. I don't care. I don't care. It was fucking awesome.
I got you.
Honestly, this movie has a ton of problems in it, but the fight sequences aren't that cheap. Yeah, like CG fights, you see like one character tackle onto another one, and that's cut scene, right? Like it's kind of there because they don't have a lot of money for these things. This one, they're like, just put money in the fights. And it was still a really good movie, even considering how we got to these things didn't make any sense. Turning my brain off and watching two big kaiju fight each other. And at the very end, we kind of get to see like Kong be the hero still as well. It was awesome, and I'm still Team Kong. So no shame in that. That's me. I'm sorry, I ranted and raved. But
no, that's good, and I think this is a good way. I think we're gonna change up our formula a little bit. So we're basically all gonna give our takes, and Joe, at this point, after your cake, just give us your score. So I think we need a score now from you, and then Charlie will do his score, and I'll do mine, because I think this works better in this format. So Joe, out of Millie Bobby Browns, how many Millie Bobby Browns would you give this movie?
I give it an 11.
11 Millie Bobby Browns.
Yeah, no. Honestly, her performance is so bad.
Well, we're not grading Millie Bobby Brown. That's not the score.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, my brother was right. He's just like she does a great nonverbal acting, but like when she starts talking, maybe it's just the American accent. It's just not there. And maybe because we're used to her being like so nonverbal in Stranger Things. Nonetheless, I give this movie a solid 7. This is exactly what I thought it was going to be, with some misgivings here or there. But I got to see Mechagodzilla in the big screen. I got to see King Kong fight Godzilla on the big screen, and it not be puppets, it being CG and not feel, cheap.
Now, did I miss? Did you say earlier that you did you actually go see this in the theater, or you just said you were using big screen kind of?
No, yeah, figuratively, I did not go to the movie theater. I'm not a crazy person anymore.
Yes, anymore. This is yeah. We haven't even, and again, I've mentioned this before, but my wife and I, that was always kind of our standard deal. We'd love to go to the movies, but yeah, we have not been in. And during all of this, and we've even though they're open back up again, so. Yeah, boy, I can't fault anything that you said in this. I had mentioned once I disengaged from the fact that of even trying to judge this as a motion picture and just judging it as what kind of felt like a punch 'em up video game.
Yep.
I think that completely bizarro Superman worlded this deal for me. You know what I mean? So I think I ended up enjoying the last probably 30 minutes of it entirely, where this was a 2-hour movie almost, that the 90 minutes that preceded that were somewhat irrelevant. That's kind of the best way to describe it. Yeah, take away the human characters, the relationship with the little girl, the sign language, the flying Tesla cars, and even the weird, we're going to Middle Earth and it's the thing and the this and that. And just stick me in Tokyo with Godzilla and King Kong having a slug out and a punch up, and then bring in the goddamn robot thing and have it wrap up the way it did and just call it a day. Everybody said, and Kong with his shatter axe thing, and it's goddamn, that was hot. It's hot.
Yeah, you notice that was Kong, one of Godzilla's spines?
Yeah. One of his scales, and it lit up.
Right.
Every time Godzilla lit up. That was really cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Love that. So Charlie, how many and I love Joe, you picked 11 because she's 11 on Stranger Things. I missed that. So good catch. Charlie, score it out of 11 Millie Bobby Browns.
I mean, are we saying 1 is bad and 10 is good?
Sure. No, 11 is excellent.
11 is excellent. Yeah, I say that this would be, doing a polar reversal, that this is a 10 for delivering a non-movie movie. There you go. Okay. Non-movie movie.
I get it. Yep. So you do have to have a different take on this movie versus comparing it to like Shakespeare or something like that. I would say this is like the perfect merging of the WWE with their fights, and then on the other hand you have like kind of like their stories. So you got to get to that why they want to fight. Well, it's because Stone Cold Steve Austin, someone stole his beer, so now they have to fight. Right. That's essentially where we're at. It's that level of writing difficulty. But then this is like the sequel to like Godzilla versus Charles Barkley in those commercials that are Nikes. That's what I felt like when I was watching them fight in Tokyo. I'm like, this feels like that Nike commercial with Godzilla versus Charles Barkley. So I liked a lot about this movie in regards just to your point, Joe and Charlie. Just it's just dumb fun. Just embrace the dumbness. Yep. Just enjoy the fights. And quite honestly, I was always like curious, like I think a lot of people would. How would Godzilla or Kong even stand up Godzilla? Well, you saw the way Kong fought. He used the terrain. He was sliding through, using his feet, doing these different things. He as you saw in like what was it, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Once a big old gorilla can use a tool, watch out, world, they're going to come for us. So that's what he did. Big axe. And
the one cool thing that I say I wanted to say with this movie is the question of like they made Godzilla to be God mode and how would Kong fight. That I love that is a question raised in the movie itself. It's like Kong can't beat this guy. Like we got to protect because Godzilla literally killed an alien thing with 3 heads. And even to see how that fight plays out, like Kong's very much the underdog, and he is like with the laser beam that Godzilla's shooting and destroying all the buildings, and you're seeing him duck, dip, dodge out of it. You're seeing that though Kong isn't as big as Godzilla, that actually is a benefit for him because he is quicker to maneuver. So it was really cool how they answered those questions. It's just maybe put the same care of like how are we getting this done.
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of remind me, Charlie, those famous fights with Spider-Man. He's smaller, but he's quicker, kind of like when he takes down the Juggernaut. That type of how do you do it? Well, you have to mix it up and use your abilities against theirs because you can't, pound for pound. It's a totally different fight.
My favorite with Spider-Man is how he took out the entire squad of the X-Men, the Prime X-Men.
Oh, that fight is so silly.
It was in Secret Wars. It was in a close space. He was able to keep moving. Nobody could touch him. So exactly. So what was the Hulk could snap Captain America in half on his best day, and if he was fighting him with the day with the cold, then Batman could take him out just using strategy. So you're absolutely right. Strategy.
Yeah, but I tell you, when you guys talk about the human element of movie, this is where this movie breaks down completely. Oh my goodness. I mean, the whole Millie Bobby Brown sequence where, I'm going to Japan, and it just made no sense out of the blue. It's like, I can do whatever I want because I'm an adult. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a dumbass kid. And if you go to Japan, your dad's going to kick your ass.
They made a tunnel in California that leads all the way to Japan.
Exactly.
They made space Teslas, and you need an energy source to boot Mechagodzilla, and you just download that energy source. What are you doing here, gang? What are we doing, and what the fuck is going on?
It must be unobtainium. That's what it must be.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean the tropes of how do you defeat a computer? You put water or liquid down it. That's how you defeat it. Yeah. And the whole thing about needing the skull of Ghidorah to then connect to the neural interface to do that. I'm like, why can't he just connect to the robot? Why doesn't he Ghidorah? Is Ghidorah is that the power source? Is that what I'm missing? And that's why it works. So it's just like, to your point, there's just the leap of how to get there.
Yeah.
I just couldn't connect.
The way the giant skull thing was, there has to be a brain in there that they're plugging into, and that's how it's getting to move its body. That's what I was thinking.
Sure.
Like how to move a tail, because like us ape brains, we wouldn't understand a lizard body. So that's how I was able to kind of connect that dot. But like, that's right. And again, Millie Bobby Brown took a space train that only took, it seems like, an hour to get to California to Japan. And no one else knew about this.
Yeah.
No one else. U.S. government has no clue.
Let's trust a weirdo stranger. Perfect. Go along for the ride. And then I love at the end, she goes, he saved our lives. I'm like, how did he save your lives? He took children to Japan, didn't actually do anything to save your life. I was like, okay, we're there. It was like pointless. And well, the other thing I couldn't figure out, and maybe you guys could help me with this, it's so the world that's in the middle of the earth that's there defies gravity, all these things. There's this like the trope of you have to bend time to do these things, and that's how you get there. It might not survive. And then Kong just can survive it no problem, but then he just decides to slide down the hole to get Godzilla. I'm just like, what is going on?
There's a hole in Hong Kong that leads to the core of the earth, fam.
There's no molten lava, apparently.
Kong got there in 5 minutes. He jumped, he double jumped, and he got to Hong Kong. Think about that. Don't actually do that.
No, you cannot think about this stuff. And then the villain, oh my goodness, it just really, you destroy more of the world by because you like, oh, they're at risk. No, Godzilla was doing his own thing. Kong was doing his own thing. You decided like you're just going to destroy everything. And man, this villain, whew. And he says, oh shit. And he says, oh shit. I'm like, come on. Right. That's oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So this movie was like doing its own thing. I did like Rebecca Hall. I did like Rebecca Hall and the little girl. Of the two things, everybody else, Skarsgård doing his Skarsgård things. Does he really know
have a beard
for those
in one
things?
scene? Why did he have a beard in just one scene?
Because when you're poor and you're an out of work guy, you have to grow a beard.
Oh, you can't afford it.
I can't afford it. Is he a Skarsgårdian of the galaxy? I don't know. Sorry, I had to find a way to stick in a quip at some level.
He was so pointless, and then all of a sudden he knew how to fly this awesome ship out of the blue.
Yeah, why not? I like it.
Way off.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything more to say about this. I enjoyed the fight scenes. It was really cool in that instance. I do feel like I think Kong is the better of the series, but like you said, Joe, we only got one standalone. This feels like the BVS, right? We got to bring Batman and Kong together, but Batman got the short shrift in that one, or maybe Superman did it, but Kong got the short shrift in this. But he was the star of this film, in the best way to put it. So I don't know where they go next. We didn't see any other baby Kongs or anyone riding around in that place that's home. So
baby Kong.
Yeah. So and we'll see what this does. I don't know. It was $155 million budget. It already made $122 million at the box office in China and other boxes it's open. So plus what it's doing for HBO Max. I'm assuming they're looking at this as a win, and that's actually why they pushed out, which makes me mad. They gave a fatality to Mortal Kombat, pushed out a week, so I can't watch it for my birthday. And I'm in the box office, so I'm guessing this is another win for them. Plus all that stuff. So it's a different move that can actually work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I need to give this a score. So I'm going to say I'm giving this a 5.5 out of 11 Millie Bobby Browns, because her accent and just kids just doing wacky hijinks, plus the weird like sidekick guy who was a hacker who really wasn't. Just
it was so forgettable. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Well,
we've all forgotten. We've all forgotten it by now. Oh well, that is it, folks. Watch the movie, have some fun, but don't spend money if you don't have to. Just have a good time.
Let it be done.
Yeah, and the guy who made this is making Thundercats next, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh boy, thunderific! Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to about wrap it up. But before we do, I'm stealing Todd's thunder. Joe, tell us a little bit about how we're going to find you out there on the socials, please.
Well, you can find me over on Twitter at Mr. Badbit. You can find my show on Twitter as well at PS Trophy Room. And the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, is a podcast surrounding all things PlayStation news each and every Thursday, usually, where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest on all things PlayStation. Follow us there on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher now, tune in as well. Wherever you get your RSS feeds, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find the Trophy Room there. This week, I was joined by a very, very, very amazing human being by the name of Sean Capri. And we talk about all things PlayStation, also for him, how it correlates to Xbox as well. So go check that out if you're big into the gaming verse. There you go. The Trophy Room.
Very exciting. Well, cool. Friends, thank you as always for joining us. We are, of course, a part of the very exciting Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, encompassing this wonderful program, General Geek Culture, the Co-op Mode, Todd plus Mark Carabin, the Canardian, talking about video games bi-weekly. Code 47 is myself, plus Rich and Aaron talking about Star Trek every Monday. And then lastly, bi-weekly on Wednesdays, you catch the Holocron Chronicles. That would be myself and Mark the Canardian talking about Star Wars. You can find us wherever podcasting services are available. Todd also mirrors all of our shows over on YouTube, as he is the Grandmaster Flash producer of our network. Like, subscribe, leave a review wherever it is that you take those in, and there's even a chance you might get some love on the show. Of course, you can find us over on Twitter at Secret Friends U. Hit us up, let us know something you're enjoying, something that you like, something that you have a thought about the show, or pose us a question. We will talk about that on our programs. Finally, we do have an awesome merchandise store over at TeePublic. If you like t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, notebooks, wall art, pillows, coffee tumblers, all kinds of fun stuff. Go there, shop early, shop often. They actually have a nice little sale window coming up the week after you'll be listening to this on April 14, 15, and 16. Todd, just in time for your birthday.
Absolutely.
That you can get yourself some Secret Friends swag. Proceeds to the store do actually benefit the Secret Friends Unite network of podcasts and our plans to expand things. So we thank you for your support. So one more time, thank you, of course, for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
The show was a jamming success.